notice that in this big audience here at FreedomFest, it's mostly men. Yeah, it's mostly men, and it's an older crowd. People, come on, most of you are my age. Is there something about liberty that's more interesting to men and to us older people? Maybe. I didn't become a libertarian until I was almost 40. How many of you here are under 40? Really? Come on. I'm glad some young people see the importance of liberty and the threat of Big Brother, and Emily Ekins says there will be more. So you're taking polls now for Reason. You've conducted some polls that you say bring good news?
I would say the good news is that, for one, millennial support for big government has been overblown.
Millennial. How many of you even know this word millennial that all these experts use? Okay, you know it.
Yeah, so who are millennials? So typically, we mean 18 to 29, 18 to 30, that age range. And honestly, their support for big government has just been overblown in recent years.
But in your poll, you asked people, do you want large government? Let me ask you, how many of you want large government? You asked this young group, do you want large government? And what do they say? Most say yes, right?
Yes. A majority of young people, they're the only cohort that says they would prefer to have a larger government and more services. We decided to ask another question. We asked, would you rather have a larger government offering more services and high taxes, or a smaller government with fewer services and low taxes? So the difference is we mentioned taxes. Guess what happens? Support flips. And then a majority want a smaller government with fewer services and low taxes.
So are young people stupid that they don't realize a big government probably means much higher taxes?
What we see is that this cohort doesn't know exactly what we mean when we say big government. It's not really an effective phrase, because clearly they're not connecting taxes with the phrase big government.
The other thing you found is that young people are less affiliated with Republicans or Democrats than they used to be.
Absolutely true. They're 3 times as likely to say that they're independents, half as likely to be Republicans, no more likely to say they're Democratic, which is surprising given their Democratic voting behavior over the past few elections.
And I was a little surprised the Democrats win on budget deficit. More of these kids thought the Democrats would address the budget deficit. Taxes, more of them thought that 34% Democrats, 22% Republicans.
Think about the context here. A lot of young people came of a politically impressionable age during the Bush administration or right afterward. And Republicans in Congress and the Bush administration oversaw massive increases in government spending. Republicans have lost credibility on this issue. And if you care a lot about social tolerance, which young people do, 62% say they're socially liberal, who do you pick? You pick the party who you feel cares more about social tolerance and individual rights, because neither party is going to be good on spending.
And the young people really care about social tolerance.
That's true. This is something that really distinguishes them from older cohorts. We see that they're social liberals and fiscal centrists.
When you ask them on fiscal issues, which is better, capitalism or socialism? Capitalism wins 52% to 42%. 42% prefer socialism?
That surprises a lot of people.
Yeah.
But there's something going on here.
Doesn't they notice the Soviet Union, Cuba,
no,
Venezuela?
They don't, because a lot of
the motor vehicles department?
The Cold War was over by the time those young people were paying attention.
They don't know what socialism is.
They don't know what socialism means. There was
actually... It sounds like social caring.
Yes. A lot of people think it's about caring for the vulnerable. However, when you're more specific in the words that you use, you're more precise. Would you rather have a free market economy or an economy by the government? People, or young people, favor a free market 64% to 32%.
So I should stop saying capitalism and should start talking about free markets.
Yes, apparently.
And also good news, 58% say government agencies generally abuse power.
The word generally is astounding here. We're not talking about occasionally or once in a while, but generally is astounding.
And 2/3 don't trust regulators.
That's true. We found 63% say that government regulators, when they write and enforce regulations, favor special interests over the public.
But they want the regulations. They want the environment made pristine and global warming stopped and everything made safe.
Right. I think it's the ultimate dilemma in American politics.
Let me ask you, should there be any regulations? No. Come on, none? No. 5 years ago, Pew asked, when something's run by the government, is it usually efficient? 42% agreed. This year, you asked the same question 5 years later.
66%. So we asked this question using the exact same wording that was used in 2009, and we find that there has been a surge in this perception that government is wasteful, and actually now millennials reflect older Americans on this issue.
So maybe they're waking up. Thank you, Emily.